Boom, 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 boom. What up? How's everyone doing? Uh, Another day, another dollar. Where my peoples is at? Where the tea party at? Let's talk. Let's talk 2%. Let's talk Mtuli Ngube. Let's talk quickly about what's going on in Zimbabwe right now. Who's watching? One person watching? My God. Let's wait for people to go up. What up, people? How's everybody doing? Glad to see all you guys coming. Barry Longo, how you doing? My favorite artist in the whole world. Mr. Alex is rock star, the genius. What up? How's everyone doing? Listen, guys. Listen. Let's have a conversation real quick. I've had some time to stew over the monetary policy, fiscal policy stuff. Had a good time to think about it a little bit, have a proper think, understand what's going on. We haven't had Zessa in a couple of days, but it's okay. You know, we're living through that. We're living through that. Okay. So let's talk quickly about the 2% that's been added to every dollar. You see, guys, when I was in the UK, I used to hear a lot of the politicians talk about the penny to the pound, penny to the pound. They used to talk about taxes using 0.0 percentages, and I wondered why it was such a big deal. You know, fuck it, 1 cent is nothing, right? I always thought, I never anticipated what these things actually cost, and I think after a 24-hour period of thinking these things through, I've had a good time to think things through. I can now maybe more honestly explain to you guys who listen to me or who follow my content about what's going on with this 2%. You see, I think the 2% is an extremely badly thought out, great idea. Now I need to explain why I say this. Great. So, my wife is telling me this is back, which is wonderful. The 2% is a really badly thought out, great idea. Mtuli Ngube had one job, and his mandate was, how do we find a way of taxing the informal sector? Priska, how are you? The baby is not here yet. Can you imagine? She's now 42 weeks. My God. The baby is refusing to come. Ambi has now been here for a week and no baby has come. So anyway, we're waiting for the baby to come. I've taken days off. I'm chilling at the crib waiting to take her to the hospital. We've got a really nice place, but then baby hasn't come. So anyway, let me get back to my point. So when you put 2% on the dollar, Tuli Ngube is trying to find a way of taxing the informal trader, taxing the plumber, taxing people who are earning money and changing money back and forth, who are not in the tax system. Now, adding 2% to every transactional dollar is actually a good idea if it's thought out a little bit better. But now it's badly thought out. So let me give you some scenarios why it's badly thought out. If I get paid into my no, don't worry, guys. She's actually under the care of a very good midwife and obstetrician. So the 42 weeks is they will induce her. They've got a date of induction if the baby doesn't come. So she's actually still very fine, still walking, still jovial. Baby heartbeat is good. So don't worry about her. She's under the care of really good people. So if I get paid into my account, into my Steward bank account, okay. If I get paid $1,000 into my Steward bank account, right? 2 cents from every dollar from that $1,000 has to go immediately. So I don't get $1,000 into my account anymore. I lose 2 cents per dollar. Okay, so I lose $20 roughly. $20 goes when I get paid $1,000 into my account. That's into my Steward bank account. Now, if I have to make a payment with a Standard Chartered account and I want to transfer my Steward bank account, if I want to take $500 from my Steward bank account to my Standard Chartered account, they charge me again. They charge me $2 per dollar. So then I lose another $10 when I move that $500. Now, as it goes in my household, sometimes I have to send money to my wife's account because she handles the shopping and handles the stuff for the house, etc. So, for example, right now she said, the kids are coming tomorrow. Can you please move some money to my account? I need to go do some shopping, okay? If I move $200 to my wife's account right now, again, right, another 2 cents goes from that money. If my wife then moves the money from her account to her EcoCash, another 2 cents moves from the stand chart to EcoCash. Then every time she pays someone, she pays another 2 cents per dollar. That's badly thought out. Okay, so yes, you get the result that you want in the sense that you actually then manage to tax everybody. It becomes a fairer tax system. But Mthuli Ncube and the Reserve Bank governor have not taken away any other taxes. So you have to remember that if I do a RTGS, I still get charged by the bank $5, okay? Or $2 for a zip it, just to do a transaction. Then the government dips in their 2 cents per dollar. If I'm buying a product from somebody, that product already has 15% value added tax on top of that product. So no matter me paying that, if I'm paying $10 for a product, that's got 15% on top, it doesn't matter. They still take the VAT money, then they still take 2 cents per dollar. So let me give you a quick scenario. I pay my gardener $100, let's say. I pay him $120 actually. I pay him $120. When I send the money to him via EcoCash, he then gets $117.60 because they've taken away 2 cents. But the way that my gardener interacts is if he pays back his friend $1 that he borrowed, that friend only gets 98 cents for $1. If he goes on a combi, he pays the combi driver $1, he pays 98 cents. What I'm trying to explain is that in each stage of this dollar, so this dollar goes from me to my gardener, loses 2 cents, goes from my gardener to his friend, loses another 2 cents, from the friend onto a combi driver, loses another 2 cents, the combi driver to PM Pick and Pay, loses another 2 cents, the PM Pick and Pay guys move it into their bank account, loses another 2 cents. So within 50 iterations, $1 disappears. Within 50 iterations, ladies and gentlemen, the dollar disappears. That's a problem. Because like I said, it's a good idea, but very badly thought about. So how would I come up with a solution to this problem? Okay, because you want to make everybody pay a fair amount of tax. What's the solution, ladies and gentlemen? The solution is simple. Figure out the mean amount of money that everybody has to operate on. So say, Kuda, you have to pay your rent, you have to move money to your wife and to your friends, lend money to your brother-in-law, lend money to send pocket money to my kids. All my kids are on EcoCash. So if I send $10 to my daughter, that's also being taxed, remember? If I send $10 to my daughter, she gets it as $9.80. So I want people to understand that the first thing they must do is they must look at the way that we transact right now and say, right, every person has got a threshold that they must use before the government takes the 2 cents per dollar. So let's say, out of fairness, for a person like me, a family man, I've got a wife, I've got an ex-wife, I pay maintenance, right? So if I'm sending my ex-wife maintenance, every dollar is being taxed at 2% as well. I've got my children who I give money to, they want to go to the village, they want to go to movies, etc., etc. So they must give me at least $3,000 threshold. Say, Kuda, Chimbotamba net 3,000 first, under your name. Play with 3,000 first. Then after 3,000, we then start taking 2 cents per dollar. Because that way it's a fairer system. That way my gardener, who doesn't play even in those realms of $3,000, never gets affected by this 2 cent per dollar system. A trader, a plumber, if they are open for business for real in Zimbabwe, they should also be given a 3,000 threshold to play around with, receive money, send money, etc. And then what happens that people, those money changers, those corrupt people who are using the services for bad vibes and using over 30, 40, 50,000 a month moving money back and forth, then they can start taking the 2 cents per dollar after 3,000 threshold. You see, that's a government that will be thinking about a solution to not affect the common man. That's a government who cares about the smaller guy. Okay? The current just the blanket 2 cents per dollar on everybody is not logical, guys. It's not logical. It's not thought out properly. Yes, I know they want to tax people who are not in the tax system currently. Yes, the government needs to raise money using revenue. And yes, the tax burden in Zimbabwe has been unfair on particular individuals, civil servants, people who are forced to go through official salary and HR procedures are being unfairly taxed because some people who earn a lot of money are not being taxed. I get that. I get that. But the government must think things through. Why is it that if I go and spend money at Tesco, or sorry, at Spar in Zimbabwe, or if I go to Pick and Pay in Zimbabwe, and I'm spending $200 on my family shopping, that should be exempt from the $2, the 2%. It should be exempt because they know I'm paying Pick and Pay and I'm paying VAT. So that should be exempt as far as I'm concerned. If I'm going to be buying a car from a dealer, then don't exempt me. I get it. But if you are going to be watching, there's accounts that need to be pre-approved to be less the money. That's important, number one. Number two, there must be a threshold for people like you and me to be able to transact. I mean, I see my brother Zezuru Rockstar is on watching this. If Zezuru says, big homie, $20, let me send him $20 and he should be able to send it back to me without us being penalized. There must be a way for that. There must actually be a way for me as Kuda Musasiwa to have a way to move my money amongst my own accounts. So the third suggestion is that I should be allowed to have my Standard Chartered Steward Bank, my cash card, One Money card, Eco Cash, and Standard Chartered and Standard Steward Bank accounts all linked and not charge $2 every time I move money around. Because I move money around for different reasons. I move money around for very different reasons. Sometimes I move 20 to my Eco Cash so that I can buy data. And when I buy that data, they charge me 2% again. That's unreasonable. As a government, that's unreasonable. Because I'm paying taxes already on that data. Right? If I buy myself airtime on my phone, I'm already paying taxes for using my phone. But you making me pay another 2 cents when I move airtime to my phone from my Eco Cash to the same number is unreasonable. It's not thought out properly, guys. It's a badly thought out good idea. The problems that people face is that they have to be able to tax your informal sector. I get that. There should be a threshold number. I say $3,000. Could be $2,000, but $3,000 is safe. People can then pay their rentals, move money around, give their family money, blah, blah, blah. Pay their tithes. Pay their tithes at church. People are going to wait till people are paying their tithes at church and they're being charged 2%. That's crazy. Me donating to cholera in Zimbabwe, they charge me 2%. That's crazy. There should be exemptions for charitable occasions, charitable things like churches and people who are, miracle missions that should be able to give their money and not be hit by tax. In fact, I say if I give to a charity, they should be able to deduct that and add it to my threshold. Simple solutions. Mtulisi Ncube is clueless. John Mangujga is clueless. This ED government right now, as far as monetary and fiscal policy, is clueless. They're not thinking. They implement things, they just say things, they verbal diarrhea, and they don't think about the implications. Ladies and gentlemen, I kid you not. If I send $100 to my gardener right now, he gets it less $2. That's a big problem for him. And every time he moves the money around, he loses more money. That's a problem. Let me read some text. Something. How then do they get the money from informal sector? From an individual plumber might get $2,000 a month from the jobs. Well, an individual plumber getting $2,500 per month is not enough for a plumber to actually execute his job properly anyway. So they shouldn't be taxing a plumber who's earning that little. Because plumbers have to buy fittings, fixtures, they have to buy piping, all this other stuff. So I think anybody below a threshold of 3,000 is fair. Let them not pay tax. They can't afford to, generally speaking. If you're only transacting $3,000 on your phone, you really can't afford to be paying a lot of 2% tax on your earnings anyway. So I say ignore those people. Because once they've bought the pipes and stuff like that, the companies that get the most money, who get the most transactions, they are the ones who should then pay the taxes on the monies that transaction. I hope that makes sense. If you don't understand, just say, I don't understand. I will explain again. I feel like I live under a rock sometimes, Saka. Is the 2% already in place? It's getting into place on the 15th of October, which is literally in a week's time. Todi says, right, good question. What do we do? Okay, so the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying is that if there is no bracket of money that people, a threshold for people to use, okay? If there isn't a bracket, then eventually, if you give it enough time, all the money in circulation then disappears and then gets owned by the government. Now, I want you to understand what I mean. If you're taxing us for VAT, giving us companies tax, they already take away almost 15 to 20% of what I earn for my clients. They already do that. Okay? They already charge us for making bank transactions back and forth. So we're already paying money. And then they want to tax us every single time a dollar moves. Even if the dollar moves onto my own account. So I move from myself to myself, they're still taxing me. Then I move it again from myself to myself, then they still tax me. That's unfair. Eventually, I can, basically what I'm saying is that I can move money between myself. Steward to EcoCash, EcoCash to Net1, one Net to my cash back to Stanchart back to Steward Bank. And I will actually lose money. The money will end up finishing in taxing. And that's not correct. Because all of us move our monies all over the place all the time. But Patricia says, it becomes unfair because formal sector earning 500s are being taxed. I understand. But even a formal employee must have a threshold of $3,000 when they're moving. You have to remember something, Patricia. Even the formal workers who are already being taxed and paying NASA, when they start moving my $2 to buy my domasi, they're being taxed again. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Something happened. It becomes unfair because... So, a formal sector worker is already being taxed. They're already being taxed. But when they now lend me $10, they're going to be taxed again. When I send them back their money, it gets taxed again. When they use it at SPA, it gets taxed again. That's not fair. It's not thought out well. It's not thought out well. So what I'm saying is the money is going to disappear. Eventually, the money will disappear. So this is why we're saying this is a robbery. This is not a tax initiative. This is not a fundraising. This is a robbery. They are robbing people. Because your civil servant who earns $500 a month will not only get taxed on the $500, but they'll get taxed every single time that money moves around. That's unjust. That's unconstitutional. That's unjust. It's robbery. We don't want robberies anymore. It's not even triple dip. Ketiwe, it's not triple dipping. It's an infinite amount of dipping because there's no threshold. They don't actually say, Kuda, we'll tax you up to this point, but then we cut it off at this point. They can tax me to finish all my money. And that's unfair. The informal sector is suffering already. Patricia, I just say there should be a threshold of $3,000. I think we can argue about the semantics, but I think there needs to be a level of balance. We say in electronic transfers, people should be able to transfer back and forth at least this amount of money before they're touched. Because if we don't do that, then it's unfair. RTGS balances don't disappear. They just shift places. The government will move the same balances back to pay its domestic debt. Yes, but then it moves it away from us. And at the end of the day, we are the ones who are suffering. Norma, how are you doing? We agree. But ask, how does informal taxer get taxed? Maybe I missed it. The informal taxer isn't being taxed. So what they've done is they've done this prophylactic mass taxation on everybody. So a company manager who earns $10,000 a month and a plumber who earns $2 a month, they're all getting taxed 2% of everything. Of everything. So what I'm saying is that when people have to transact sometimes, I send a lot of money to my wife. I sometimes need to pay for stuff, or she needs to send me some money sometimes to pay for my things. We move money between ourselves a lot. Every month, me and my wife can move between 10, 15 times we move money between ourselves. Thousands of dollars maybe. Oh, babe, can you go pay Siemens? Hey, I'm sending 200 to your PayPal, to your EcoCash. Oh, can you please buy some shopping? Okay, I'm sending $10 to your, we send money to each other back and forth. We haven't thought about it. But now when they're going to be taxing every time it moves, it's going to disappear. And this is the problem. It's not well thought out, guys. We're talking about the 2% and why it's not thought out. So those are some of the solutions I came up with. Number one, I think there should be a threshold of how much money before you start getting taxed 2% on every dollar that you spend. Number two, I really believe that there should be companies and businesses that we are allowed to spend our money on moving back and forth, which are exempt from the 2%. For example, if it's a steward bank to steward bank to our own accounts, paying each other back, that kind of stuff. If it's in my own name, Kuda Musasiwa sending to Kuda Musasiwa, that should be exempt. Therefore, then I'm not double dipping and triple dipping on my taxes. The third solution is that there should be companies like Pick and Pay, Spar, places that we fill up our fuel, so that we're already paying petrol tax, but we don't want to be paying another tax on top of the tax, guys. So we need to find out how they can segregate things like Total and Zuva and stuff, so that when we pay there, we're not double dipping and getting taxed again and again and again and again. Victor says, Greeks complain before when the government changed the mandatory policy. They never paid the tax and complain, whatever. Okay, we will get used to it. Okay, Victor, they should formalize the form in the informal, make it easy to cheap register a company. I agree. Cut off the red tape and the bullshit. Formalize the economy and stop making us all victims of the people who are not formalized. Maybe the aim is to let it disappear. That's what they want. Those in authority are clueless. I agree. Those in authority are madofu chacha. Kuda and Khan will pay $1 for every time we email money to each other. Maybe that is what they are trying. If you're paying $1 every time you email money, that's fine, because you can email somebody $100 and pay $1. That's okay. They're charging us per dollar. You understand? Every time the money moves, it gets charged another $1. And that's clueless. That's clueless. I pay my gardener. My gardener then goes on and sends the money to my wife to go buy him some bread. She then sends me some money to go pay for the seamers. The money just keeps getting taken. And so there's no logic. It's not well thought out. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying. Okay, so anyway, that's done. Does anyone want to join the conversation before we go any further? We're trying to be solutions based, and I think I've got some good ideas on how they can think it out better. 2% is good. Take it from everybody, but fairly. If Kuda's already paid taxes, if the civil servant is already paid taxes, if I'm paying taxes on fuel already, I'm paying VAT on my food and stuff already, then don't double tax me, please. It has to be thought out better, guys. It has to be thought out better. Otherwise, we're going to go on the streets and going to cause cut, because we're not accepting these niggas and these vagabonds stealing more of our cash. We don't have it to take. I promise you, things look crazy from outside, but the honest truth is, guys, we're struggling. We are really, 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 really struggling. It's not easy in them right now. It's not easy. Prices are going up exponentially. Things are really hard. You know, we don't earn as much as we used to earn. We can't put up our prices to our clients. But then the shops are putting up the prices every day. Fuel is going up. There's now fuel queues. You know, things are bad. Okay? Let's not put any sheen on it. Things are terrible. And if you now try and take the last little bits of money from us, we're dead. Literally dead. I personally cannot afford 2% on every dollar I move around, because I move around a lot of money. I can't afford it anymore. If I'm a man who moves around 10, because I got employees and I have to pay for services and so forth. If I'm moving around $10,000 every month, okay, work out 2% on $10,000. It's a lot of money, guys. I can't afford it. It means, can I afford my gardener anymore? Oh, I can't. Because remember, I'm moving this money around not for my own benefit. It's not my money. It's money for buying other services, paying suppliers, paying guys who are doing the setups for us, paying guys who are doing a website, or paying a guy who's helping out with some graphics, or paying the guys who are doing the billboards, or whatever. We move around a lot of money. And so we can't afford $2 on all that money. We can't. It's impossible. Oh, anyway. Nice chatting. I wish our government would consult. I wish they would consult. Sit down with like 3 or 4 economists. Then call in 10 people. 10 people. A small business enterprise like myself. Call in 2 guys, maybe the head of Pick and Pay, head of Spar. Call in the guy from Nyaradzo. Call in an Econet guy. Call in the guy from Net1. Call in 3 people who are on the streets, a vendor, a woman, a musika. Call in those people and sit down and say, guys, this is our idea. Can you see some of the problems that we'll face? Then we'll point out to them, oh, no, but when I send my son pocket money, and then when my son buys airtime with that pocket money, you keep taxing him. That's not fair. My son is only 14. Why is he paying taxes? I've already paid the money, tax on the money. When I earned it, I paid tax. You see, they could have asked us and would have told them quickly that there's big loopholes in this problem. Huge fucking loopholes. And it takes not, I don't even have to be very smart. I'm not an economist. But my missus, for example, who's a mathematician, she'll tell you how quickly it is before your money disappears. Sit right now, you and your partner, and move money back and forth from each other, and the money will finish. Just moving it between each other, your money will finish eventually. That's terrible. They never consult. You're right, Florence. They never consult. It's not logical. So anyway, for all those who are just joining us now, it's called austerity policy. Okay, we are not averse to austerity, Nomu. We are not averse to austerity. I mean, I am very happy to not eat imported mayonnaise, not eat imported Heinz ketchup. I'm very happy to not pay DSTV. I don't pay DSTV. I'm very happy not to waste money. For example, the services I pay overseas like Netflix and Deezer and stuff, I use foreign money. The money I earn outside, I use PayPal to pay that stuff out. So I don't take money out the system. In fact, as an exporter, I bring money into the system in Zimbabwe. So I don't mind austerity measures. I don't mind them at all. What I do mind is things that are not well thought out. No. Things are not well thought out. There's a lot of things not well thought out, and this is the problem. My gardener, who earns below the tax threshold of $250, if I give him $120, he's only getting $117.60. And every time he moves little bits of money, $1 to pay for airtime, $1 to buy my puti, whatever, he's being charged taxes. It doesn't make sense. When we're already paying tax on everything we buy, it's not well thought out. Yes, they'll make a shitload of money from us, but it's going to make us suffer. I told you guys, my company sometimes has to interact and deal with about $100,000 RTGS a month. Do you understand that? That's now $100,000 is not much for a company, remember, because we got staff and we got overheads and stuff. But do you understand the depth of how much that costs us now? If we now have to pay another $2,000 tax on top of that, $2,000 is 2 graphic designers' salary in this country. So do you lose 2 employees because of taxes? Because by losing those 2, all you're doing is losing 2 people that you have to pay. Do they want Zimbabwe to be open for business or what? Do they want us to buy and move money around because money is the arteries and blood life of the country? Do they want that? Do they want us to succeed in this environment or not? I don't know anymore. Because I know for one thing that my company cannot survive anymore. It's already taxed to the hilt. Company's tax is crazy. Getting an exemption certificate for VAT is almost impossible with Zimra and that corrupt lot over there. Paying your staff now, your staff cry when you pay them in EcoCash. They cry. Do you know why they cry? Because they know that shit. If you pay me my $500 in EcoCash, I'm gonna lose 30%. That's how much they lose. Trying to get staff money for transport, trying to get them cash for transport cost me 30% to get ballers in so that I can give my gardener transport money. We're already taxed to death. We can't survive. These austerity measures will not yield any result bar frustrating the system, frustrating the population. There's no way this is going to work. Right? They're going to take that money, they're going to pay up their treasury bills, whatever. It's not going to change anything bar the fact that they fucked us. This was not in their campaign policy documents. This was not in the ZANU-PF campaign policy documents. This tax. So even if yes, Magatota election, Magatota Bindra election, right? But at least follow your manifesto. And your manifesto didn't say that. Even though you stole the atom. You know, we all know you stole the atom. Someone saying this person said they don't trust the banks. A lot of people are not. Look, what is the business tax in Zimbabwe? The corporate tax in Zimbabwe can get up to about 35 to 40%, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so 35 to 40% of your money goes into corporate tax, right? And that's not including VAT, right? Our VAT system is fiscalized. So if I send a client right now a $5,000 bill, right? By the end of this month, they want the VAT for that $5,000 bill from me without question. There's no question. And no sungwa if you don't pay your VAT. And then they want income tax from Soro. So your tax returns are not all so then they want 35% of that income tax. In Zimbabwe. There's no business opportunities in Zimbabwe. Those are those are not benamari because they're not thinking things through. What are you producing that needs tax exemption? Okay, so I'll give you a typical example. If I, right, walk into Pick and Pay and buy stationery for my office, I pay VAT on the stationery. Okay, if I pay another supplier to provide a stage for me, okay, I have to pay VAT on that. So the reason why we ask for VAT exemption is that what we want to do is we want to show that, well, we paid this supplier here, we took their VAT, but they gave us a VAT exemption certificate. So when we charge our clients, they have to pass on our VAT exemption certificate. That's when they can pay us our money, so that we can pay others their money. So if they don't exempt us from the VAT, what we're doing is we're paying VAT 4 or 5 or 6 times. So that's the deal. That's the problem we have. I hope that answers your question. So if you're running a business in Zimbabwe, you don't have a VAT certificate, then your clients can't pay you without deducting money from your invoice. So if you charge them $1,000, they'll deduct 10% off your invoice if you don't have a VAT certificate. And that's a problem. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? Any other questions? Okay, so let's sum this up. The system is not well thought out. Taking 2 cents from every dollar after people have already been taxed, this doesn't work. What we need, ladies and gentlemen, is a situation where we have a threshold. $3,000. When you finish that, we're now in a position where we can start taxing you for more, because we feel that you are an informal trader and you're not paying your taxes. But it's not unreasonable to believe that a father of 3 kids, a 4th one coming, a wife, an ex-wife, maintenance, mom, dad, sisters, can transact and move money around. I just think it's unfair to tax us continuously. Nico, what you're explaining, Kuda, is presumptive tax. Okay. Maybe you can explain further. I'm not sure what you're saying. Does this affect money sent from the dashboard? Yes, it does. Anything electronic that moves back and forth is going to be taxed. Is there a way to sue them? Yeah, I think people like Advocate Mayor and them are trying to take them to court for this because it's unconstitutional. Okay, corporate tax is 25% plus 3%, not 40%. Payee is the one that goes up to 40%. Thank you for your correction. But see, corporate tax floats. Sometimes it goes below 10%, then it goes to 35%. Then remember that it's got that quarterly nonsense. So that's why I sum it up. It's prohibitive, including the VAT and the amount of taxes you pay on top of that. But I stand corrected. I stand guided with that correction, if you're correct. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you for joining me. I think, now that our government is very much on social medias and online, I think we need to bombard them with ideas, bombard them with how we feel that this could be implemented better. Let's as we're giving ideas, let's also remember why they're doing some of the things they're doing, why they're trying to put this 2% on tax. I mean, I have to first put myself in the shoes of a governor or a finance minister who says I have to be able to tax people who are not in the tax system. The best way kuma electronic transfers. I get that. But it needs to be thought out slightly better, so that me giving my kids pocket money and me sending money to my wife and moving money amongst my own accounts doesn't kill me. There's a reason why we move money around. Sometimes it's simply because to move money to Stewart so that I can use my money on EcoCash, because my stand chart sometimes is not connected the same way. You see what I'm saying? So there's reasons why we move money to different services. I move money to my cash, which is owned by Mikos, because shopping in Pick and Pay is cheaper that way. Okay? Because they don't charge you a swiping fees. So we move money around for a reason. And that's our money. We should be able to use it any way we want. If they don't want to do that, then give us our fucking cash. Give us our cash and then we won't bother you. Then we won't care about your 2%. Give us our cash and we'll move around transacting cash. Anyway, thanks guys.